Oi, oi, oi! Welcome, one and all, to finally another episode after such a long time. TerraFirmaCraft Reloaded, DankNStein here. We're on episode number 47, I'm gonna say. And I think it's been 2 or 3 live streams since we last had an episode. This thing was under construction. We're now in the tippity top tower of our wizard's tower. We're going to turn this into some kind of a Thermacraft base, this thing. But it's looking quite nice in here. One day we're going to move in. But I just thought I'd show you where we're at with it. And it looks pretty good from inside. And it looks pretty good from the outside too, doesn't it? I think you will agree. In fact, everything around here is starting to really kind of develop. But this is a massive thing. And I think, the roof, it took us a little while to get something we were happy with the roof. But I think it's working. I think it's working quite well, to be honest. So, yeah, happy with that and ready for when we are ready to do a Thermacraft episode to move in. And, yeah, very wizardy colour scheme. I think this old painting machine did wonders for us there. Now, what have we been doing apart from that build since we last had an episode? Well, we've been readying ourselves to kind of complete immersive engineering, really. If we look in the engineer's manual just quickly here, heavy machinery. This, having done the arc furnace, it's this excavator is the next big deal. This thing essentially, we've talked about it in the past. It's like does a load of automatic mining for us, and it pulls minerals on a chunk by chunk basis, basically out of thin air. They don't, like, these aren't blocks that have spawned in the chunk. Each chunk just has a particular collection of minerals that it can give you, and we cover most bases with this thing. We'll certainly be able to get loads of ardite, which is going to be hard to get anywhere else, so that's useful. And there's no cobalt though. No cobalt there. But anyway, this thing is super expensive. We needed to make this core sample drill, which was a recipe in itself that involved a fair bit of steel. But then to just build the excavator itself, you know from the past how expensive these light and heavy engineering blocks are. Anyway, we needed an awful lot of them, plus 21 blocks of steel. So that's that top row there, that's the excavator. And then this, our generator blocks, radiator blocks, and heavy engineering blocks. This is for our power generation for the excavator, because we need some sort of portable power. Diesel generator must be. Yeah, this massive thing. This is it. This is what we've built. We've got all the pieces for this. These generator blocks were not cheap. Radiator blocks were not cheap. And then 27 heavy engineering blocks. That was a huge amount of steel, copper, and all the rest of it. But we can burn biodiesel and we can burn other fuel in it as well. Now, that gets us onto yet another immersive engineering thing here. These immersive engineering wooden storage crates, guess what? You can put barrels in them. Now, do you want to know something crazy? You can put immersive engineering wooden storage crates in barrels. So in here we have barrels, and I've filled them all with oil. We went out to, on the stream just yesterday, as I record this at least, we went out to this oil spill right here, and as you can see, we built a little scaffolding there that allowed us to gather all of these barrels full of oil. So this is a huge amount of oil. And look, check it out. We can break this thing. There it is in our inventory. We can pop it in a barrel. We can seal that barrel up. We can move the barrel and then unseal it. Take the storage crate out, put that down somewhere else, and all the stuff's still there with barrels. So I think this is like a mirror, like a never-ending like hall of mirrors or something, like Inception. We can basically have infinite storage here. I think it was Rebel who first pointed this out, so big up yourself, Rebel. We can have barrels in crates, in 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 barrels in crates. Like, forever. Anyway, so we've got a lot of oil here to burn in this generator. So then the next thing I want to show you since last time is how much of our resources we actually used doing this. So we had these full, I mean that was full of pig iron, this full of steel, like iron up to there, gold up to there, plus another massive stack of gold here, all gone. Copper, all our copper's gone. So we're still looking okay in certain areas. We've got a bit of cobalt there, you see what I mean? We get the ardite from the thing. We're looking good in, you know, in terms of our black, blue and red steel here, but we need to go back to the mob farm for more pig iron. It would be ideal to find ourselves a copper chunk that has a copper deposit in it, because gold's always going to be good. More nickel would be really nice, because I don't think we get nickel. We gathered a load of it back at the beginning of the playthrough, but we don't get that from our dust sifting. So that would be a really nice thing to find. 68% copper. I'm just wondering if there's one that's any better than that for copper. No, doesn't seem so. So yeah, so just the standard copper one is what we need to look out for, basically. Yeah, we need to do a bit of that. We've also readied ourselves for another sifting session with a load of dust. We got super unlucky. We made a diamond hammer. We enchanted it, yeah. And we got silk touch, which means that it just breaks the sand into sand. It basically renders this hammer completely useless. So that was a shame. But then we got one with Unbreaking 3 on. And actually the way we got Unbreaking 3 on it is kind of interesting. We made ourselves an Io Enchanter here, where you actually combine items to get specific. You put a book and quill in, and with specific items in here you get guaranteed specific enchantments. So for example, Unbreaking 3 is just 3 pieces of obsidian, and obviously it takes levels too, but this thing's incredibly powerful. The recipe was like this: dark steel, couple diamonds. It was easy enough to do, compared to this table upgrade thing, which is we're gonna be a while waiting for an exquisite tourmaline specifically. So yeah, but that's a nice upgrade to this area's functionality for sure, and we will avoid silk touch hammers in the future because of it. The one thing that we still need to do is, with all this oil, before we're ready to use our excavator, and I'm very excited to use it, we need to refine all this oil to make it more efficient to burn, I believe. So this thing should be easy enough to craft, so we're going to craft that now. Oh, and the other thing to just quickly show you is we also made one of these, you know, the normal capacitor banks we're using are the basic ones from Io. They have a maximum capacity of 1,000,000 RF. This guy, the vibrant one that we've built, has a maximum capacity of 25 million. So this will be our like sort of portable power buffer thing, and I think it better maintain it. Yeah, it's fully charged while it's in our inventory. Now let's get on with building this refinery. So we need a blue steel gear. Okay, can we not just do that on the metal press? Yes, we can. 4 blue steel ingots, 4 ingots, and then these require us to have 4 iron each, and we need 3 of them. Okay, so 2 redstone torches, glass panes, 12, perfect. That's the exact number we need, and 12 ingots of iron, right? Now, revelation. We can actually pull ingots off the bottom of the stack. You have to place them on the top, which is why I've always been trying to pull them off the top and losing them to the ceiling. You can just pull the ingots off the bottom, and they go straight into your inventory. The amount of times I've like built up to the top to make sure that we don't lose ingots. Anyway, stupid. Okay, so there we go. 3 of those guys. 4 ingots of blue steel. I think all of this sandstone, yeah, this sandstone has finished by now. That's good. Right, we've got our gear mold. Chuck those in. Okay, that's looking good. Perfect. So this should be the refinery now. Okay, it isn't, but I think I know why. Because we can convert these blue steel gears. All of these Shergant gears have that little need for that extra step. There we go, refinery. So how big is this thing? Okay, it looks like it's 1 block. For now, let's just put it here. I don't really know how this thing works, so we're going to have to mess around with it. It doesn't have any power as it stands. Let's see if we can change that. So a definite plan of action is to turn this wall into a proper... There we go. Turn this into a proper kind of machine rack for all our like odd machines like these. Anyway, that's powered now. So what do? Do we just grab like a barrel? Will that work? Probably not. Yeah, it doesn't want to take the barrel. Okay. If we unseal that, is it a case of just using our bucket? Okay, now that's empty. Let's try this. So if we take a bucket of that, put it into there. Okay, it's using power. Huh, it looks cool. Okay, so I can see the oil in the back going down and this like yellow oil in the front moving up. But I'm told anyway that doing this means that we're going to get more bang for our buck. It's going to run way more efficiently. Okay, so I'm assuming that we're going to need to pump stuff out of the refinery. So we might need to set it up somewhere else where we have a bit more room. But I think, yeah, I've just been looking at these pipes and we do have a little bit left over of everything we need to make one fluid transfer pipe here. Copper fluid pipe, 10 millibuckets a tick. That thing seemed to be running fairly slowly, so I'm thinking this copper one's going to be enough. And do we have... Yes, we still have a spare fluid tank from Io kicking around. So let's see if this will work for us temporarily here. Okay, so I've cleared out this space now. So if we chuck this guy there, and this pipe there, I doubt we can power it with this stuff, but why don't we try? If we put that there, hey, that works. Okay, fantastic. So we should be able to fill up fluid tanks. I can't remember how much these fill up to now, but basically it's going to be quite a slow process, but I think we can just keep filling these up. Yep. Oh yeah, and I understand there's 2 tanks at the back that accept, yeah, so we can fill it up with 8 buckets at a time, which I think is probably more than enough, and as it works it'll, yeah, it's just pouring it straight in. Yeah, and it's maintaining power and stuff from here. Yeah, that's all agreeable. So we might need like more than one of these, but I think what we'll do for now is we'll leave this guy running. It's going to do 8 buckets at a time, so we'll fill up one of these fluid tanks with the refined fuel, with the fuel. We'll take like a barrel of oil out with us too, I suppose. It did it, accepted it. Okay, that's cool. We might have lost a slight amount there actually, because it might have just... Anyway. Yeah, so while that's going anyway, and we can basically test both, just make sure before we convert all the oil into fuel, just make sure that it definitely... that our thing accepts both, right? So let's take the power with us and let's take our core sample drill. So why don't we try right here? How does this thing work? Just like that? Yep, it's taking power. Core sample progress 17%. Okay, and is it F3 and G? 92%. Okay, it's nearly finished. So it should stop taking power now, and it has indeed stopped taking the power. Core sample evaluated, no minerals found. So some chunks just have nothing in them. Do we need to be marking these? Like, these are chunks, right? Each of these squares is a chunk, I think. Let's have a little sleep here. Okay, I can't work out how to get the F3 and G thing to work to show me chunk boundaries in this pack. So if anyone knows how to do that in this pack, let me know. But we can still see in F3, we're in chunk minus 17, minus 512. My question is, if I put this down in a different spot, it works, even though we're in the same chunk, it's working again. It hasn't remembered that we've checked this chunk before. So that's one thing to bear in mind. I'm going to assume it's going to come to the exact same conclusion. The question is, if we put it back down there, will it remember the same spot? It doesn't certainly remember the same chunk, so let's check, does it remember the same spot? Core sample evaluated, Nothing found. Put it back down there again. And again, it's just started again. Yeah, okay, so we don't need it to finish that. We know the answer there. So let's take this guy. So minus 17 and 512, nothing. Minus 17, 513. Who knows? Could be something. So I guess we'll just wander around like this. I'm going to keep a list, I think, of chunks that I've checked. I think that's the only way to do it, is to maybe keep a list just on pen and paper or on notepad or something. And again, this one, nothing. Don't. Now, I guess it makes sense that they would be rare, these deposits. And when we find one, even if it's not the copper one that we're looking for, it's going to be pretty tempting to just go for whatever it is that we find first, right? Okay, no minerals found in 17, minus 514 either. Alright, you guys. Core sample evaluated, silver vein found. Minus 14, minus 514. In that chunk, we have silver. And it says that the mineral vein at 100% integrity, so presumably there's an awful lot in each chunk, but it is a finite amount. So let's have a look at what we get in our silver deposit. There it is. We get lead and silver, pretty much near enough 60-40. Okay, well, this is not a bad first place to try, but I mean, so that's on our 6th chunk. The 6th chunk that we've tested has found us a vein. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going for a little bit longer with this and see what other ones we find. I'm just going to do maybe 20 more minutes of doing this and see how many more we actually get, yeah? Alright, so I think this is probably the last one I'm going to test just for now. We've done everything from minus 13, minus 512 to minus 17, minus 514. So minus 13 to minus 17 and minus 512 to minus 514. Is this anything? No, this is nothing. So all in all, that is totaling 15 chunks that we've just had a look at. And I'm just making note that one was nothing. And the only one that had anything out of all 15 chunks that we looked at was this bad boy over here. Minus 14, where is it? This one, minus 14, minus 514, which had silver in it. So I guess we're looking at setting up right about here. Right, and I've just come to check on this, so it's finished, and look, I was right, we don't have 10 whole buckets in there. Where I poured the last bucket into the refinery, when it didn't have room for a full bucket, we just lost the difference. So that's worth noting. But that's nearly one whole barrel converted into this stuff, so I'm happy with that, we'll take it. Well, let's do that, but let's also have one of the barrels of oil on our back, and let's take our bucket with us, which we've got. Excellent. In fact, I'm just going to do a little bit of inventory management because we've got a lot of stuff on our inventory, bits and bobs that we probably don't need to be carrying around with us. Okay, so just to be as clear as possible, this is the chunk. This is minus 14 to minus 514. That's this whole chunk. If you see those numbers in the brackets going down from 0.15 to 15.0. As we go from one corner to the next. Oops, up to there. So this is the whole chunk that I've dug out. This is where we're going to need to set up our machines. So the part I'm a little bit unclear about is the way that this wheel sticks out from underneath. I presume we don't worry too much about that and we just, like, yeah, do it. Let's just do it layer by layer like this, I think. Block of steel, scaffolding and steel. So let's put this down like there. I think should give us enough room to build this thing. Come out 3 like that and then put blocks of steel on either side. Next layer. Okay, this one's a little bit of a complicated one. So we wanted the 3 heavies like that. Then the block. And then what was it? Heavy, heavy, yep, okay. So there's a light guy there. Heavies, 2 blocks. I think that's the next row done. accurately. Okay, next guy. Right. Block. Block. Light, light, light. Block, light, block. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Block. Light. Block. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Sleepy time. Right, where were we? We've done that row, yeah? Next row. Heavy, heavy. Block. Okay, good. Final, oh, second to final row. Right, okay, easy. Block, scavenging, 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 block. Like this. And then the block on top. And that leaves us our 27. Yep, and that's the power supply there. So this thing, okay, we need our engineer's hammer, but that should be it. Let's go grab the hammer. Okay, let's see if we've done this right. Where are we supposed to hit it with the hammer? It doesn't actually say. Okay, got it. That looks like it works. That looks right. Now, what does it say about where stuff goes in? The energy input for the engine is on its side. The back features a redstone control panel and the item output. So that must be the item output and the redstone control panel there. And that's where the power goes in, those three there. Yep. Lovely. Okay, so that's a little bit awkward for us. But we should be able to just build the power thing right here. Okay, so that's where the output is, presumably, and the input of fuel is in those two corners, I guess. So we probably want the front of it, yeah, like sticking out here, right? So if we put 1, 2, 3 like that, yeah, this should be good. You see, these machines are so expensive, and we're going to have to take them down again and move them around. So rebuilding them like this is going to become something we get fairly used to, I'd imagine. I mean, we'll see. We'll just see how efficient we actually feel it is. It's been a very expensive experiment. Okay, there we go. So we need the high voltage stuff to be able to take 4,000 out, I think, and go 4,000 in. And we're going to need to put our fluid tank on the side there, maybe. Does this guy have like an interface? It doesn't. It doesn't actually have an interface to look at. Neither does this, by the looks of things. Okay, so I've gathered a few more items here that we need to get things rolling, and I think this should be everything we need to get things rolling. Items output on the back there, right? So we just chuck a chest there, and it should be able to talk straight to that. We are going to want to use our high voltage wire, and I hope... High voltage wire relay, are they separate to the actual connectors? I think they are, aren't they? High voltage wire connector, we need some of those. Maybe platinum. Okay, maybe we don't have those back at the base. Will the connectors go on there? No, so the relays are just for halfway housing it. Oh, okay. Alright, hold on. Oh, damn, look, would you look at that? We have one high voltage connector left. So we need to make one more. 3 platinum ingots and 6 hardened clay. Alright, so we got our 6 pieces, 3 of them, 2 high voltage connectors, and we got our wire coils. Okay, so this should be all it needs to start making some magic for us here. Let's see how wrong we can be. Yes, and yes, yes, and yes, and then just supply this with some fuel, and then maybe get this to push. Yep. Yep. Wow. 4 pieces already. Okay. Oh, damn. Have we just used all of that fuel? So let's see how long that lasts. Yeah. Sorry, it's really dark here. So that's all the fuel gone. So it was just shy of 10 millibuckets, wasn't it, that we put in? Still running though. And it is producing a lot of ore. Wow. This thing's amazing. You can see the ores coming up in the drill. That's cool. It's still saying it's got the 4096 per tick that it needs. I wish this thing would tell me more. Like, I presume that this thing has a buffer in it, and it was just pulling the fuel in much faster than it was burning it. Right? Must be. Let's have a sleep. Great that it's working though. So this was 10 buckets, so I'm keen to just do this isolated test, see what the 10 buckets produces. Then we'll try 10 buckets of normal oil that wasn't refined to judge whether the refining process is worth it. I imagine the refining is certainly worth it. But yeah, I'll just check back in with you guys when this thing stops purring, I suppose. Okay, it just stopped purring. It has no power left in it. I presume that guy's finished as well. It's all done, and that's quite a lot for 10 buckets. Now, the other thing we could do is we could set up the core, get it to just check this sample again, and it will tell us the integrity of it now, like what percentage of the total we just pulled out. Okay, here we go. Integrity. Okay, we used 1.5%. So, oh my gosh. So what, like 60, 65? We could do what we just did like 60, 65 times. Like, we probably only need to find one chunk of each type. It's probably the case. And just move it around as we need the stuff. But like finding a second silver one, I don't think is going to be particularly necessary. Let's now just test the normal oil quickly. Place it in there. Yep, so let's fill this guy up with 10 buckets of normal oil, unrefined. Very nice. And give it a little test here. Oh, it looks like the unrefined oil is just not a thing. This guy needs fuel. This diesel generator is not even going to take the unrefined oil. So that's the end of that chapter. So what we need to do probably in a future episode is work out a proper refinery process. I get the feeling that we would likely have a like I said at the start, we'll have like an odds and ends kind of tool, so like machine rack here. But I don't think the refinery should be in this machine rack. I think the refinery needs its own little spot somewhere to do its thing. Maybe kind of like in line with this guy. Maybe the refinery processes would be like here. Get rid of these two trees probably. And have a little oil refinery station next to the crusher here. That could work. And maybe build like several of those refineries so we have them all working at once, all pumping into like an array of these fluid tanks. I think, that there's the open blocks tanks. I think they're better. They take up a lot of steel, so we'd need to make some more steel, but I think we'd make an array of these open blocks tanks, a load of the refineries, and just bish bash bosh, right? So that's a project for another day, but this thing is it's pretty incredible. Like, it's amazing. And so I think the other thing to do will then be in the next live stream, we'll just take the core sampler out and we'll just go chunk to chunk and we'll find all the good ones, mark them all on the map, and I think riches galore basically. So very cool. Now, one of the things we did very recently as well, as it is spring and also because our diet is awful, is we did quite a bit of farming here. We've got watermelons growing over there. We've got oat, green beans nearly ready. Maize is nearly ready. The green beans are growing underneath the cover. Yeah, they are. That's good. Soybeans. But I thought, yes, the ones that will be finished, that grow fastest, are the onions. So the onions are ready to harvest now. Everything else, I think we're going to need to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, let's get some vegetable in our life. It's been too long. Okay, alright. Yeah, that's quite a lot of onion. That's quite a lot of onion. I won't replant for now. We're going to come back for the rest of these guys another time. But yeah, for now I'm pretty happy with that haul of onion there. We'll just go and take it into the cellar. So yeah, look, apologies, it's been a long time since we last had an episode. I took a little break from edited videos, and a lot of that was due to just life getting busy again and real work coming up and things like that. But we're back in the game now, and I'm going to be getting back to old times of getting at least 2 of these episodes out a week plus 1 stream. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Like, look out for the next one coming very, very soon indeed. Let's get some onion on. I think, yeah, by next time we'll be able to like start making bread and getting our diet into a bit of better shape. Yeah, there's still ice in there, that's good. Get our max hit points up from 300 a little bit. In fact, let's grab some of this while we're here. That's another way to get those crucial hit points up, innit? But yeah, big achievement today. The excavator is massive, and just by putting a tiny little bit of fuel in there, just 10 buckets, we got quite a lot of silver and lead there. And there's loads more oil around, but we can in the future look to biodiesel as well. But also I think looking at a way of pumping oil directly out of the ground and into our containers would be nice, rather than manually collecting it by bucket, which is what I did yesterday on the live stream. So yeah, there's still a lot to do in terms of developing our process with this ore excavator. But the thing is clearly very powerful, and yeah, our ore collection really does need it. Do you know what I mean? Look, literally 0 copper. We need it. Admittedly, silver we probably don't need, but we did find we can basically convert it forwards into loads of sterling silver anyway, and loads of you know, black bronze and things like that. So having more silver is not really an issue. We're going to start seeing these all maxed out. And then somebody discussed an idea of actually we could put pistons underneath the floor to make the floor move downwards, and you have like secret lockers underground under each one for excess ingots. I really like that idea. So an upgrade to down here is going to become necessary at that point. But yeah, that's... Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, chaos. Anyway, let's get some levels in. And yeah, I guess we got a Thorncraft episode coming up. Still plenty to do. And I want to also, another plan I've got at the moment is to sort out these gardens, the fruit gardens. Once we've done a harvest of all of these this year, I'm going to probably chop down all the fruit trees and plant them again, but in rows, and starting to build up to having a big grand garden that leads over to our palace that we're going to build out of gold over there. So plenty of plans for this excavator. Is a big deal. And immersive engineering is pretty much complete now. Like, that mod pack is kind of, we've wrung it out to dry really. Got all the big machines. Working out exactly how we power them and make that powering more efficient is kind of a separate bag. But thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in just a couple more days for another one of these. So yeah, peace.